Hello, everyone. This is Eric, and today I'm going to be covering a relatively broad range of topics that will essentially serve as a brief introduction to Oracle's Big Data Discovery product. And this is going to be more from a technical perspective. So, just to give you an idea of what I plan on covering, I'm going to go over the architecture and the various components required for a typical implementation. And then I'm going to briefly cover the different deployment configuration options that Oracle gives us, and that's actually what's on the screen now. And finally, I'm going to simply walk through starting all the services just to tie up any loose ends if there's any confusion while I'm going through the video. So, as you can see on the screen right now, this is Oracle's documentation, and this page, they're explaining the different deployment options that you, not the only options that you have, but just a few options that that they gave us. And really, all I wanted to make note of here was the dual node and the single node deployments are strictly for demo purposes only, or maybe really small scale data sets, things of that nature. This big data discovery product was really created to leverage Hadoop and its services. And if you know anything about Hadoop, the logic or the analogy that I always use for Hadoop is would you rather go out and get a bunch of your friends to go pick up a car, or would you rather try and do it yourself, even if it was a really strong guy? Whatever. I mean, it's a bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying. That's essentially the idea behind Hadoop, is the distributed computing model. So the recommendation is 6 nodes or above, and the one that I'm actually running is a dual node. So I did 2 nodes just on local VMs. But really, the only limitations for the dual node and single node is, number one, it simply can't handle the same amount of data that a larger or more nodes could handle. And really, the second thing is for failover. There's not going to be high availability, and I think that's pretty obvious because there's not enough servers. So those are really the key points I wanted to hit on really quickly. But since I am using the dual node configuration, this is essentially what it looks like. I have one server or one VM that has Hadoop and everything Hadoop related on this first server, and then the second server has the WebLogic deployment and the dgraph process as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start up my services. So this is my first VM that actually has the Hadoop implementation on it. And so one of the things that I have to do is, actually there's 2 things. So the first thing is simply shutting off the firewall. Obviously this isn't in production or anything. This is local. So the correct way would be to go edit the IP tables, but there's no point. So I'm just going to turn this off really quick. And also this service, NTPD, I think it has something to do with the time syncing. And for whatever reason, I'm running a Cloudera Hadoop distribution, and for whatever reason, I was getting some errors, and I basically found that the NTPD was the reason. So yeah, I have to start that as well. So my services should already be started. So I think they're running on some daemons or something like that. So if I do service Cloudera SCM server status, this should tell me. So there are really three more. There's server DB status or start, whichever you're trying to do. They should be started by default though. And then server do agent. So everything's running, so that's good. And since I'm running on DHCP, I always just check my IP to make sure it hasn't changed. So we'll log into Cloudera's equivalent to the admin server. Their admin console. And this is actually pretty cool. I didn't have any Hadoop experience previous to working with BDD, but yeah, I really like this web interface. It has a lot of really cool functionality. If for instance, if you're not familiar with Cloudera or Hadoop in general, simply, little things like looking for log files or something like that. If there's a particular process that might be causing issues, and you don't want to sit there and Google all day or do a bunch of locate or find commands to try and figure out where the log files are. It's really, really simple. This interface. It's a really simple and intuitive interface, and has a lot of great functionality. That's just honestly a lot better than doing it the old command terminal way. So yeah, we'll wait for these to start up. And just a side note, so the reason I'm starting this up first is that's actually the sequence that we have to go in. So the sequence is we start up Hadoop and all of its services, and they actually have, in and of itself, they have their own sequence that they have to follow. But luckily, Cloudera Manager, it knows. So if you try to do it manually, it would actually, and you did it out of sequence, it would give you some type of error and say, hey, you shouldn't start that without this, that kind of thing. But if you just hit the start command, it kind of takes care of it all. It's really nice. So while this is running, I'm going to go ahead and hop over to my other VM and start getting set up here. So here is where WebLogic, dgraph, the data processing, all that stuff exists. And so we do have an Oracle database as well for the application. It has something to do with the application files. So that's where that exists. What did I do wrong? That's weird. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. So I can go ahead and start up the database, and once the other ones, once Hadoop is done starting up, then I can go ahead and start everything on this end. Whoops. Wrong way. I work on so many VMs every day that I forget the directory structure of my own. Okay, so we have as you saw, I kind of flew past it, but we do only have one WebLogic instance deployed on this VM, and it's just for the Studio component. So that's where we're at right now. I'm sorry, I said Studio component. It's for Big Data Discovery in general. It has more than just Studio deployed. So we have the admin server and the managed server, just like any other Oracle product. I'm going to go ahead and remove these no-hup files. These are just in case you don't know what these are. They're just temp files that I send the output to. So go ahead and check up on the other one. Make sure that it's started up. All right, so it looks like we're good. We do have a concerning health issue here, and I'll click on it and show you what it says. So it says under replicated blocks, and really all that means is since we're deployed on a single node, I won't get too deep into this, but if you look this up, you'll find a lot of stuff on it. So from what I understand, I'm not a Hadoop expert, but from what I understand, HDFS, it stands for, I don't know what the H stands for, but Distributed File System. And essentially what it does is it takes these, it works on block sizes basically. And say for instance, you have maybe like a really large table or something, and that table would be broken up into blocks, and they basically distribute those blocks over multiple nodes, and they're distributed evenly across. So that's what's going on here. Is essentially we only have one node, so I could easily go in there and turn that configuration off, but it doesn't bother me because I know what it is. So anyways, so it looks like we're good to go. So make sure that our database is it's not started up yet, so I'll go ahead and start it up. I'm not sure what's going on here. I'll just log back in. All right, so once this database is done starting up, we'll start this this admin server. All right, it's done. And we'll go ahead and just tail this really quick. Oh, you know what? I gotta make sure that the firewall's off on here too. There we go. And I'll just start up NTPD as well. Yeah, so what's essentially going on here is Hadoop, it started up, and if you could picture BDD basically just sitting on top of Hadoop, and it basically is almost like a leech, if you will, or a parasite or something like that. It's utilizing all of Hadoop's, not all of them, but most of Hadoop's services to do a lot of its processing and just various tasks. So it needs to be started up before BDD can actually be started up. All right, so now we'll go ahead and start up the managed server. Yeah, so when you start up the managed server, you have two parameters you have to give it, and the first one is the name of the admin server itself. So that's BDD VM. And then the second one is the managed server name, and then the port. Yeah, so they want the admin server port, but the managed server name. Anyways, then we'll go ahead and output this to nohup2.out and run in the background. We'll tell this as well. I tell the wrong one. Yeah, so this usually takes a minute or two. So while we're waiting on that, what we're going to have to do next, and this is really the last step in starting everything up. So last thing we really have to do is go to the middleware home, and we have to start up dgraph manually. So dgraph is in this BDD 1.1.01349 directory. And then inside of BDD manager, and then go into bin. And we have, this is really the only one that you need to be concerned about. This is the one we use for essentially everything. So to use this, there are different commands, but really the only ones you need to know are start, stop, restart, status. That's the other one. So we'll go ahead and just run a status really quick, and then we have to give it the -C option. I can't remember what it stands for, but we have to give it that option. And then we have to, well, I'll just do this and I'll show you what it does. So when we didn't specify, a specific component, it just gave us the status of all of them. So we have Studio, we have the data processing, and then we have the dgraph HDFS agent, the dgraph gateway, and the dgraph process itself. So really all we have to do, and I want to make sure that this is running, no dgraph node available. Yep. And that's what we're doing now. So it says we're running, so we're good. All we got to do here is start up the dgraph, and we should be good to go. All right, so looks like everything started up correctly. And we can get out of here. So go ahead and open up our browser. And we'll go to the Big Data Discovery application. And the purpose of this video wasn't to give a demo, so I'm not going to. I'm actually working on a few right now, so that is coming soon. But that's really all I wanted to show you guys today, was just give you a brief introduction to big data discovery and the architecture, how to start things up, that kind of thing. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment, and I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. And thanks for watching.